Well, today's been a very interesting day for Payday 3 as Starbreeze decided to fully embrace, acknowledge, and showcase the leaked 2020 version of Payday 3 that has been spreading like wildfire over the past week or so across the internet. If you have absolutely no idea what I'm talking about, don't worry, I'm about to give you some full context, but today's video is going to be talking about them breaking down this leaked build and why people have been complaining and saying that this build looked better than the base game, and a whole host of comments in between. It's been a very interesting stream to watch between Armour, the global brand director, and Mio, the Payday 3's game director, as they played through the full build, talked through some of their design decisions, and also just responded to some comments as per usual from the live chat. We have a lot to talk about, so let's get into it. So if you have absolutely no idea what I'm talking about, let me set the context to begin with. A little over a week ago on Reddit, someone had got access to a 2020 version of Payday 3's build and plastered it on Reddit and also on YouTube, I believe. It was a walkthrough of two different heists, one of which was a very similar version of No Rest for the Wicked, but without all of the actual coloured design textures, etc. And there was another map as well that was a little bit less well made. It showed for some loud gameplay and also some stealth gameplay, gave you a look at a UI, some different music we hadn't heard before. There was a track in there composed by Gustavo Cuchimio that isn't in the full game. You can find that on YouTube. I don't think that's been taken down. And it lets people pointing out certain things within the build, like the reusing of Payday 2's UI with the police assault in progress, the old Armour system still being present, and on top of that, other little bits like new unique drills, where, much like in Crime Boss Rock City, that game that everyone loves, right? You could speed up a drill, and if you sped up the drill, it would overheat faster, but you would also get the objective done possibly a bit quicker if you sat on top of it and kept it guarded while it was heating up. The drill also told you the material it was drilling, though, and I mean, that wasn't necessarily strictly relevant, but it was a cool little feature on the screen, and I kind of would like that, a bit of shop window dressing for your drills. That could be really cool. This build was put up on Reddit and then just as swiftly was taken down under DMCA copyright claims. And so myself, like everybody else in the community, assumed Starbreeze were playing their usual tactic of I pretend I do not see. If I don't look, they don't know that I know, and I can make everyone forget like it's Men in Black. And yet they decided to go differently once they found out that build did not actually just make it to that Reddit account. People downloaded the videos, people got into the build, and there's been loads of people playing it, talking about it, and showcasing footage online. And that is the problem with the internet. Much like Luke Skywalker said in The Rise of Skywalker, no one's ever really gone. In this case, the no one is the footage of this build. So Starbreeze decided, hey, let's just embrace it, play it live on stream, and talk it through. And while it is very surprising and shocking to me to see them move away from their usual strategy of pretend that things don't exist if it's easier for them, I am also, in a lot of ways, not surprised they've done this. Let's just trim the fat here and be completely blunt for a second. Payday 3 is hanging on by a thread. If they were having their hand on the edge of a cliff, there's only one pinky finger hanging off the top now that is the only thing between Payday 3 and total collapse. They are desperately trying everything they can to keep this game relevant while it struggles to even have several hundred players at any one time on Steam. Goodness knows what the console charts look like. Every update so far has been met with as much positivity as it has criticism, if not more criticism, and so Starbreeze are desperately trying to make this game relevant and stop it from being an actual dead game, unlike the meme that Payday 2 became. And so as a company desperate to get some life back in their flagship franchise, as soon as there's any kind of news debate or anything that pops up, it's wise for them to acknowledge it and play into it, whether it looks good or bad on them from different people's perspectives. And so we have today's stream. As I said, Alma and Mio played this build live and talked some things through, and I took a few notes. I just want to talk over my overall thoughts. There won't be a PDF on the screen here. This is just me giving a bit more of a free-form discussion about this build. So first off, let's talk about the obvious thing. As soon as you get into this build, you can see quite clearly in the main menu that you can play on a server browser to find lobbies, as well as having solo play as an option for any level you load up in the game. And so that was the biggest point of contention. Proper, solid proof that isn't just hidden in the game files that you did have a server browser at one point for Payday 3. So why did that go? Well, as you might expect, server browser didn't get any kind of clarification because it's a stupid thing and should never have left the game. There's no reason why that isn't there, and I don't understand why on earth it was ever taken out. However, the always online thing did get a bit of addressing from Mio, and so it's the first thing I want to focus on. He said that as they added more things into the game, more of the things they were adding functionality needed servers. And by servers, they mean dedicated servers, because if everything was client-side, it would make the game run far worse. For example, all the AI in the game, they ran on dedicated servers, and they wanted to avoid it taking up too many computer resources in development and also in gameplay. So as time went by, he didn't really say the words definitively, but he implied that that was the reason they basically just went, well, most things are online, let's make it all online. I'm just going to call this out right now. If I'm wrong and there's any clarification Mio and Alma can give, please do give it. But I personally have heard about 4 different excuses now for why there's always online, and this is the first time I've heard heard this one, so I have absolutely zero trust that this is a reason. It could very well be the case that a lot of these things were done server-side, so they decided to make it always online, but it was never a reason they fronted within the game. They talked about piracy, they talked about trying to make crossplay more manageable for consoles and PC. They've spat out basically any reason that sounded logical at this point, so I don't know which ones are true and which ones are false. So I'm washing my hands of that. I'm just saying what Mio said, and I'm moving on, because I personally am not taking that with any kind of sincerity. Nothing against Mio, I've just heard so many different things at this point that I just don't know what to believe, and I'm pretty sure that a lot of people in the community are feeling the same way. Next up then, a few of the other topics like the Armour system, UI, and also Locke being the voiceover in the background all came up in one big discussion from Mio, and this one I do fully appreciate, because he dived into how the game was being built in 2020 and talked about how they wanted to have a playable version of the game that they could experiment with and build upon as quickly as possible. And so what they designed with this build was trying to import as many features from Payday 2 as quickly, as efficiently as possible, so they had something they could run with and then build upon from there. Locke was never planned to be the contractor to talk you through every heist in Payday 3. They weren't sure if they fully decided on Shade by this point, but Ian Russell was available after his Payday 2 work, and they said, hey, can you record some lines for us to scatter across this gameplay to make it feel a bit more realistic as we're testing? I did find it a little bit upsetting for him to say that he wanted Locke to be a secondary contractor like he was in Payday 2, because by the end of Payday 2, that just wasn't true. Locke was the main handler for the group, so it feels like you're doing Locke a disservice by saying that, because surely there should have at least been some consideration to keep him around. People like Locke, he's a fan favourite character. I can understand having him there for placeholder and moving against it, but to say that you never intended to have Locke there, that hurts. That sucks that wasn't even considered. That is an oversight, in my opinion, and one of many this game has had. However, things like Armour, Mio did say they had already decided they were going to do different Armour systems in Payday 3. They just kept Payday 2's in there while they were testing things out. They wanted to build on from there. And talking about Armour specifically, he said that when they were developing the game, they wanted to prioritize the feeling of the overall heisting experience rather than the individual systems. And when they were running through the experience and being a heister and being in that environment, fighting back against the police, they felt that it was a much smarter idea for Armour to be a resource that would run out and force you to leave. Mio did say himself he's aware that people did not always like this idea. Some people like it, some people hate it. I mean, realistically, I'm on the side that I just don't like it. The more I've played with it, the more I absolutely loathe it. And it's a shame to hear them double down on that, especially considering they're going for the overall feel of the game rather than individual systems. In my opinion, that would mean keep things as they are from Payday 2, reflect on your values and what you want Payday 3 to feel like, and tweak some things accordingly. Armour feels like a drastic change rather than tweak to improve it and make it feel more modern. He didn't go into any more detail beyond the models and UI. These are just things they naturally decided to change over the course of game development, whether you like them or not. They aren't the way they were in Payday 2. You know, there's a lot of debate we could do there, but there's no point in handling it now. I do just want to talk very briefly about why I think they've done this. I don't think it's just because of the publicity and to try and capitalize on something people are talking about. I really noticed in this stream in particular, Armour kept on going, you guys like this feature? Do you want this feature? Let us know in the chat if you like this feature. Do you guys want this feature? What do you think about this feature? Do you want this feature added? He was very forward about it, and bless him, I understand he's doing his job, but it became quite obvious as he was going in, at least from my perspective, that they were playing this build to try and suss out if anything they'd made mistakes with could be amended and added back into Payday 3. If that's the case, very, very commendable. I can appreciate you realizing that some of the mistakes you've made can be corrected and that this leaked build has been a way to acknowledge it. And so it does raise a good point. If you see any of the footage that I'm using in this video from their stream, where you go and watch their stream and you want to see certain things added, do go and tell them. I think it's important to note that the feature upvote page is finally getting some acknowledgement over there. They've marked a few things as planned or in development. I'm hoping it means they're taking more feedback on board. There's more details like how they developed No Rest for the Wicked as a stealth-only heist then built into Loudon. Things like that will be visible in that stream. Feel free to go watch it. It does provide some fascinating insights into game development that developers don't tend to share. So I do like that they've done this. It's just annoying that they've done it only because it leaked. Armour said that that wasn't true and they might have done it at some point down the line, but realistically, they wouldn't have. Let's be completely honest here. I really don't see that ever being something they would do. But that's everything really to talk about from the actual core stream. There were a few things they were asked about, and most questions are things I'm not even going to get into because I have talked about them previously, or they're just reiterations of things that are on their Operation Medic Bag blog. So things about changing systems, like the Overkill system is apparently going to be changed somewhere in this year, try and make that more in-depth. They're looking at trying to add more legacy heists in over time. Didn't confirm anything here and now because they obviously are too scared of committing to something and going back on it. But the only thing I thought was really interesting to focus on specifically is that after the last update, which added the Adrenaline Overheal system, Payday 3 has become extraordinarily easy to play. There are other YouTubers that have already done full in-depth videos about that specific angle on its own, and Mio was asked about it, about how he feels about the game being too easy, and he said, "It's fine for now, but we'll fix it down the line with loud modifiers for very hard and overkill." I'm just going to say it right now, That's not enough. They added 28 skill points, they added an adrenaline system, which while very fun has made the game diabolically easy to play if you know even slightly what you're doing. So adding a couple of loud modifiers in, I really don't see how that's going to fix it. There needs to be some more in-depth system investigation here from Starbreeze, rather than just, here's the thing they like, let's shove it out, and if it makes the game easy, screw it, they got what they wanted, move on, let's do another thing. Really try and think some of these things through a little bit more, because it seems like even though you've set up the system in a particular way, you've done some changes that just are a bit baffling and have made things too easy, and either you need to address them and undo a couple of them, or just make things a bit more balanced, because right now, they just aren't. A couple of loud modifiers is not going to change that. People will work around modifiers. You need to make the actual gameplay minute to minute more unique and challenging than it is currently with the systems that we have. Either way, that's about everything to talk about from this video. It was an interesting stream to watch. As I said, I really enjoyed getting an insight into the game development. It's just some things I can understand the logic and some things I really did not like, that did not sit well with me. So I'm intrigued to know everyone else's thoughts. If you didn't already know about this leaked build, what do you think of it now? If you already knew about it, are you surprised to hear them talk about it? What are your thoughts? Do you think it looks better than the current version of Payday 3, minus textures not looking as good? Do let me know all your thoughts down in the comment section below. I'll be interested to get everyone's opinions on this one and debate it out with some of you below the video. If you enjoyed the video, please do click the like button. Helps a lot, shows me you like this content and would like to see more. And if you're new to the channel, click subscribe. It's quick, it's free. I love you for doing so, and you'll always be in touch with all Payday news as it happens. But ladies and gentlemen, I will leave it there. Thank you all very much for watching. I'll see you all on Friday, assuming the next dev blog has anything noteworthy to share. Who knows at this point? We will see, I guess. We also have a potential dev update coming at some point down the line, so whenever that happens as well, I will report that. But either way, thank you all for watching. I'll see you all very soon with a new video. Look after yourselves, stay safe, take care, see you in the next one.